Alright, you lot. Welcome to this week's Hey Scotty, where I take your questions and give you straightest answers possible, sprinkled with just right amount of Yorkshire charm, sarcasm, and maybe odd rant. Whether you're asking about gaming, telly, cars, or at one time you might have done something questionable, no, it's off table. But before we dive into chaos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that bollocks. It helps channel grow, and you won't want to miss out on this madness, would you? Right, let's crack on, shall we? Alright, this question comes from Silverbullet93021. What's your favourite older TV show? Like from 70s to 90s? Personally, I like $6 Million Man and Dukes of Hazzard. Well, mate, you got bloody good taste there. One of those shows is Mark Wahlberg's impossible pipe dream to remake. Seriously, leave $6 Million Man alone, Hollywood. You'll only ruin it. And other? Well, I like to think Dukes of Hazzard were just young Jonathan Kent's pre-Superman shenanigans before he settled down on Kent Farm. But for me, where do I even start? Weekdays were a sprint home from school to catch Jerry Anderson classics. Stingray, Joe 90, Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, Terrorhawks. You know, back when puppets were cooler than most human actors these days. Saturday mornings were sugar-fueled Blitzer, E-Man, Transformers, Mask, Centurions, Power Extreme. Don't pretend you didn't sing that. And whatever cartoon chaos were on telly. Then came Saturday nights. Oh, proper family TV time. MacGyver, A-Team, Knight Rider, Airwolf, Street Hawk, and let's not forget Automan. I mean, they're basically all the same show in different packaging, but who cares? Sundays were for sci-fi classics, reruns at Star Trek, Lost in Space, Voyaged at Bottom at Sea, Mission Impossible, Space 1999 or Land at Giants. Proper show while waiting for dinner. Although after that I had to suffer through Walton's or Little House on Prairie. Painful, but fair payment for making family sit through Knight Rider for third week running. Yeah, I were a right Telly Addict as a kid. TV Guide was my Bible, and I'd plan my week like I were organising a military operation. So how about rest of you, eh? For those old enough to remember when you had to actually be home to catch your favourite shows, what were your telly obsessions from 70s to 90s? Drop me favourites in comments below, and let's revel in nostalgia together. Thanks for that memory lane detour, mate. Bloody brilliant question. Next we got Connor Phelan 9825 with this banger of a question. In your opinion, what best COD multiplayer? Not popular opinion, but I liked World at War. Great maps, simple perks, simple streaks, and classes were built to suit your playstyle with sacrifices to be made. Mate, World at War were fantastic. Proper gritty, proper raw. I'll admit I were more into campaign on that one. Reznov shouting about Motherland and Gary Oldman stealing show. What's not to love? But for multiplayer, my favourite, and this is an unpopular opinion, were Modern Warfare 2. Yep, OG Modern Warfare 2, one that made everyone scream noob tube and Fiat Sand at Predator missile. They absolutely reeled me back in with nostalgia bait for Modern Warfare 3, and credit where it's due, Sledgehammer didn't half smash it, especially considering crunch they were under to make it. Still, for me, original Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 during Mark Rubin era just hit differently. Everyone seems to rave about Treyarch games, and fair play, they've got the loyal fanbase. But I always had a soft spot for Infinity Ward style. That were my peak COD era. Not that I was some god tier player at all, far from it. But I had me moments, pulling off a cheeky clutch or two, and not beat satisfaction or outsmarting campers. Me go to loadout, Scar Edge or Val, depending on map. I'd always run Scavenger, cold-blooded and ninja, silent but deadly, like a fart in a library. Back then, even randoms worked as a team. You'd have a good laugh, call out sweaty players, pull off some insane plays together. It were a different vibe, less about KD and more about having a laugh and smashing objective. So how about rest of you? Which COD multiplayer is your personal favourite? Drop it in comments. Let's see who agrees, who disagrees, and who's brave enough to admit they enjoyed Ghost. Cheers for the question, Connor. Cracking one, mate. Alright, next up we got your boy Ricky123 coming in hot with this question. Let's talk cars. What's your favourite car ever? Be it for looks, power or sound? Mine is any Chevy Camaro, especially older one. Hood is just beautiful and I love sound. If a racing game doesn't have a Camaro, I won't play it. Mate, solid choice there. Camaro's an absolute icon. That deep throaty growl, pure American muscle. For me though, also part of General Motors family, I'm going with 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Yep, Smoky and Bandit legend itself. There's just something about that car. Sleek lines, Firebird decal on bonnet, way it just screams badass without even trying. I've got one kitted out in Need for Speed Unbound, and let me tell you, I love tearing up streets with that thing. There's something so satisfying about throwing it sideways around a corner and listening to that engine roar. It's not fastest car in game, not by a long shot, but it's about style, mate. Pure, unfiltered style. I don't know what it is about Firebird, but it's always had a hold on me. Maybe it's nostalgia, old movies, or the fact it feels like a rebel on four wheels. Either way, it's my top pick. So how about the rest of you? What's your favourite car? Be it for looks, power, sound, or even just nostalgia factor? Let us know in comments, whether you're into muscle cars, exotics, or even something quirky like DeLorean. Alright, we got Anti-Triad here asking a fantastic question. Hi Scotty, seeing Underground 2 on your list made me wonder what you think of its sequel, Need for Speed Most Wanted, 2005 one, we don't mention other one, and how older games compared to newest, like Unbound. Has Need for Speed, or perhaps racing games as a whole, lost the former glory with likes of Call of Duty? Or its series still as enjoyable as it were in early 2000s? Mate, I probably spent as much time on Most Wanted 2005 as I did on Underground games, if not more. Honestly, I spent countless hours tearing up freeway in Bugatti, winding up cops just for laughs. There was something magical about those older Need for Speed games. Perfect mixture of adrenaline-pumping races, chaotic pursuits, and, let's be honest, proper banging soundtracks. But Need for Speed? That's a franchise I fell out of love with when they started rebooting it. Rivals were decent, but after that it felt a bit, well, lifeless. Then I saw a trailer for Unbound and I thought, aye, this looks different. And yeah, it really is. Jumped in on day one, clocked 30 hours in less than a week, and genuinely enjoyed it. Though I'll admit I dropped it by mid-2023 and only just reinstalled it recently for another go. Thing is, Need for Speed and racing games as a whole have been struggling to find the perfect formula lately. Not everyone's going to love what they do, but when they get it right, they can still be a ton of fun. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for future titles. And who knows, you might see some Unbound gameplay from me soon. Maybe. Oh, and speaking of racing games, I really need to reinstall and finish Grid Legends. Never did wrap up that story mode. What about the rest of you? Anyone here still into racing games? Which one's your favourites? Let us know in comments, I'd love to hear about it. Cheers for the question, my friend. You still enjoy classics like Most Wanted? Or have you found a newer racing game that does it for you? Let's hear it. Next up, we got Ages444 with a question that's sure to bring out some stories. This is an in-moment question, and if it's not able to be answered, I understand. But what craziest or funniest thing you did while drunk? Blackout drunk counts as well if you had a friend that told you what happened. Mate, when they say there's things you can't talk about on YouTube, they're not kidding. But for sake of content, I think I can share one of Tamer's stories from my chaotic past. So picture this. My mate and I, absolutely sloshed, decided it'd be a laugh to streak through town centre and around gardens of an old folks' care home. Why? Because in our infinite drunken wisdom, we thought it were hilarious to scream, "We're angels here to collect souls at dead!" And as you might imagine, it didn't go down too well with a few folks, particularly ones calling cops, which is probably why we woke up next morning under arrest and charged with indecent exposure. And my mate? Oh, he didn't help matters one bit. When we got to the station, he had audacity to tell desk sergeant that his fat ass would be indecent, but our perky asses were godly. Absolute legend. Long story short, we got slapped with community service. 100 hours for me, and double for him, cause, well, they slapped on assault or an officer for his cheat. Honestly though, that's tame compared to some shenanigans we got up to sober, drunk or otherwise. I've said it afore on channel, I had a proper misspent youth, but damn it was fun. Kids today, no clue what they're missing out on. Now it's your turn. Give me your best drunken story, or sober chaos if you're one of those sensible types. Same for the rest of you lot watching. I know you got some juicy tales you're dying to share, so drop them in comments and let's have a laugh. Cheers for question ages. Next up, Salty Junior 42 asks, have you watched any Star Wars Skeleton Crew yet? And if you have, what are your thoughts on it? Personally, I think it's gone back to what made Star Wars great. Mate, I'll be honest, I've not touched it. After trying to sit through Andor and switching it off before first episode even ended, my faith in Star Wars shows has taken a bit of a nosedive. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Mandalorian, absolute gold, Book of Boba Fett were decent too, though it felt more like Mandalorian 2.5 at times. Press for Skeleton Crew? Nope, haven't watched it. Now that you mentioned it though, I'm intrigued. You reckon it's recaptured original Star Wars magic? It might just be worth a look. I'll give it a shot and let you know what I think. Hopefully it don't send me running for the power button like Andor did. How about everyone else? Have you seen Skeleton Crew? Is it a return to form or just another entry in Star Wars hit and miss catalogue? Let us know your thoughts in comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear if it's as good as Salty Jr. says. Cheers for question, mate. Let's see if Skeleton Crew can reel me back in. Mate, Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 is back again with a brilliant question. Here's a question I've been lingering on. What do you think about YouTubers who say a game's dead and the fans believe it without even playing the game? I ask this because there's plenty of videos of famous YouTubers I know about saying the game I played or don't know about is dead or terrible, and the fans eat it up. What's your thoughts on that, Scotty? Also, stay awesome, brother. Cracking question, my friend. This dives headfirst into the swamp of what we call influencers. These folks want one thing and one thing only, your attention. Because attention means money, and big attention, that means big money. Especially when those big bucks are being greased by game publishers desperate to state narrative. Here's kicker. I don't think most of these influencers believe half at bollocks the spout. Take something like X-Defiant. Loads of creators trashed it from start. Not because it were actually a bad game, but because Activision had the wallets open for COD shills. Now, I'm not one to call anyone out directly. I got respect for a lot of creators, but let me tell you about one I saw. This person were playing X-Defiant with friends, having an absolute blast. No major issues, loads of fun. Then less than a week later, they're shitting all over it, complaining about netcode, calling it a COD clone and saying it wouldn't last. Surprise, surprise, they were at COD Next getting wined and dined. Fast forward a bit, and now that COD's in a nosedive, they're crying about state at game and wish X-Defiant wasn't being shelved. Irony's so thick you could cut it with a dull knife. And it's not just one. Plenty of COD creators at same. Big names who slammed other games to keep that Activision gravy train rolling, only to turn around now and whinge about Black Ops 6 leaving a void. Meanwhile, we've got alt wannabe influencers parroting their crap in the echo chamber, talking out their asses without a shred of thought. And honestly, I reckon a lot of them are just salty because SBMM exposed them for being bang average players at best. Look, I still get twonks lining up to repeat same tired nonsense those influencers started months ago. Hell, just look at DK Dynamite, still singing praises of Black Ops 6, still pulling views for it. Judging by comments I see, most of his fans are probably little kids who couldn't string a sentence together without sounding like a Call of Duty lobby from 2009. So what about the rest of you? What's your take on these so-called influencers who trash games for a quick buck and leave their audience none the wiser? Drop your thoughts in comments. I'd love to hear them. Cheers for the question, Pyro. And you stay awesome too, mate. Right then. Birkenell comes in with a burning question. You've been playing with your bestie online game friend for 20 years, and today you find out they've been cheating in every game since day one. Are they still your friend, or are they now just a nobody to you? Mate, this one required zero thought. My instant reaction? Report, ban, block. No hesitation. I don't care if they've been my mate for 20 days, 20 months, or 20 bloody years. If you're cheating, then you can get hell out of my lobbies. Now I get that might sound harsh to some people out there, and hey, if you're okay with staying friends with a cheat, that's your choice. But for me, nah mate, I've got zero tolerance for cheating in online games. It's not just about games either, it's about trust. If I can't trust you in something as trivial as a bloody video game, how could I trust you with out else? Trust is everything to me. Once someone earns me trust and then betrays it so easily, that's it, gone. And here's kicker, I don't give second chances when it comes to trust. That said, I'm not one to hold grudges either. I've spoken to people before who'd broken me trust, but I've never reconnected or become mates with him again. Does that make sense? I can forgive in the sense that I'm not carrying around bitterness, but you're never getting a seat at my table again. So what about the rest of you? Would you forgive and forget? Or is cheating ultimate betrayal for you as well? Drop your text in comments. I'm curious where everyone stands on this one. Cheers for the question, Firkinel. And that's it for this week's Hey Scotty. If you want to keep conversation going or have more burning questions, join Discord. It's where all best banter happens. You can also follow me on Twitter for occasional rant or update. And if you're feeling extra generous, consider becoming a channel member. It helps keep lights on and content flowing. All links you need are down in the description. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave your comments and questions below. You never know, I might just feature him on channel. I'll see you next time, you magnificent